Hi, and welcome to this new episode of Biopilates Deep Dive. Today, I'd like to take you into an exercise that, at first glance, may seem simple, almost obvious, and yet it holds a truly fascinating biomechanical intelligence. The front rowing preps, and more specifically the straightforward version, are not just about working the arms. They are exercises of connection, exercises of precision, and above all, exercises of truth, because here, nothing can be faked. Everything begins with the starting position. I am seated facing the footbar, my pelvis in neutral, my spine in neutral, resting on my sit bones with this sensation of grounding and lightness at the same time. My legs are crossed, my arms slightly behind my body, palms facing forward, fingers long, wrists alive. And most importantly, my scapulae are stabilized. This is where everything truly begins, in this silent, almost invisible organization that will determine the entire quality of the movement. In this exercise, the visible movement is only a consequence. What we see are the arms moving forward, but what truly matters is the internal organization. It is the ability to maintain trunk stability and scapular coherence while the movement unfolds. Before even moving, I breathe. I inhale to prepare, and on the exhale, I engage my center. I feel the transverse abdominis. I feel the pelvic floor. I feel this subtle and intelligent closure that supports the gesture. Then I push, but I do not push with my arms alone. I push with my entire organization. My scapulae remain wide and stable. My rib cage does not lift. My pelvis does not shift. Nothing escapes. The arms move forward because the rest of the body is able to hold. And it is this relationship between stability and mobility that creates the quality of the movement. This is where we can go deeper into the biomechanics of shoulder flexion. Shoulder flexion is a complex movement that does not involve only the glenohumeral joint, but an entire chain, the scapula, the clavicle, the rib cage, and of course the arm. As I bring my arms forward, the humerus moves within the glenoid cavity, and for this movement to remain fluid, the humeral head must stay centered. It must roll upward while gliding slightly downward in order to avoid any subacromial impingement. This mechanism is essential because if the humeral head does not glide properly, it compresses the structures under the acromion, particularly the rotator cuff tendons. That is why movement can never be reduced to a simple muscular action. It is a constant balance between mobility and stability. In this flexion, two muscles play a central role, the anterior deltoid and the pectoralis major. The anterior deltoid, originating from the lateral third of the clavicle and inserting into the deltoid tuberosity of the humerus, is fundamental in lifting the arm forward. Its concentric contraction initiates and controls this elevation with remarkable precision. But the anterior deltoid never works alone. It is supported, guided, and modulated by the pectoralis major, this large, powerful, fan-shaped muscle originating from the clavicle, sternum, and ribs and inserting into the crest of the greater tubercle of the humerus. The pectoralis major contributes to shoulder flexion, but also to adduction and medial rotation. In this front rowing movement, it brings direction, power, and depth to the gesture. What is fascinating is the way these two muscles cooperate. The anterior deltoid lifts, guides, refines. The pectoralis major supports, strengthens, structures. But this synergy is only possible if the scapula is stable. Without that stability, forces disperse, movement becomes imprecise, and the body compensates. The scapula, therefore, is at the heart of this organization. It has no direct bony attachment to the rib cage and relies entirely on muscular balance. The serratus anterior, the trapezius, the rhomboids, all work together to keep the scapula in place while allowing it to glide, adapt, and follow the movement. In the front rowing prep, we are not looking for excessive protraction or rigid retraction. We are looking for dynamic stability, a scapula that remains connected, wide, alive, a scapula that accompanies the movement without ever disrupting it. As I push the carriage, I stay within this intention of precision. I feel the anterior deltoid activate. I feel the pectoralis major participate, but I also feel everything stabilizing behind. My back is present, my center is engaged, my body is organized, and as I return, on the inhale, I control. The return is an essential phase. This is where the muscles work eccentrically, where they decelerate the movement, where they absorb the resistance. The anterior deltoid and the pectoralis major are no longer producing the movement. They are restraining it, shaping it, slowing it down, and this is often where the true quality of the work is revealed. We perform only a few repetitions, but they are conscious repetitions. Each movement becomes an exploration. Each sensation becomes information. The position of the hands, the orientation of the palms, the length of the straps, all of this influences how the muscle fibers organize, how the joints align, and how the nervous system learns. This exercise forces us to slow down. It forces us to feel. It forces us to understand that movement is never isolated. It is always the result of global coordination. And perhaps this is ultimately the essence of Pilates. It is not about doing more. It is about doing better. It is not about going further. It is about going deeper into precision. In this front rowing prep, we rediscover this fundamental idea that movement is a consequence of organization, that strength is a consequence of stability, and that the quality of movement relies on an intelligence of the body that we refine breath after breath, repetition after repetition. Thank you for listening. See you soon for another episode of Biopilates Deep Dive.